Here.
Okay.
Let's move on.
Okay.
Let's move on to the actual section. Now that I have water and not coffee.
So Naz answers chat questions.
Let's move on to this one. All right. So now we're gonna get started with the question and answer section. So these are for those of you who are not used to the old style of us doing these sorts of things. That is exactly how a Captain's Table runs. We usually spend about 20 to 30 minutes setting everything up, getting the audio levels right, and then sometimes screwing it up still. And then go after the session. We usually take a few minutes, we use the restroom, and then we come back and I usually hit the record button for the questions and answers. So I try to keep it as succinct as possible. What is usually ends up being about 2 hour to an hour and a half videos takes about 4 hours to do. So, I usually make about 3 hours of content. 4 hours of content to make 3 hours of content. 4 hours of recording for 3 hours of content.
Which, as someone who used to do a bit of video production, is a really great ratio.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I won't admit what my ratio is.
So, but that's what you're missing when you should be watching us live when we do these things. That's all I'm going to say. All right, so let's go through the questions. There are a total of 20 questions in this chat. We're going to go through them and answer them to the best of our ability. I will skip a few of them possibly because I saw a couple of them up. One is from CPHR7, who asks, wasn't the quote-unquote stealth mission a bit sandworm-like? The stealth mechanic didn't seem to be like in first iteration at all. Go ahead, Trip.
I'm pretty sure that they had themselves set as friendly to the NPCs.
You think so?
Yep. That was what I decided after watching this for a while and trying to figure out the behavior, because the NPCs, we know that the NPCs are terminators when the server is not overloaded and horrible things happening. Mm-hmm. And the NPCs were oblivious, and there were a couple times where they clearly got spotted and the NPCs just ignored them. In fact, the distraction bit, I don't know, like it was so fast and I didn't go back and check it. But what I saw in the thing where he threw the whatever it was to do the distraction and went the other way, was he like threw the distraction and the one guard went over there and he went the other way and there was a guard standing right there looking at him. Like there's a second guy. It was just like right there. Distraction totally failed. And nothing happened. I'm pretty sure that to make this run through smoothly. And again, they were talking about cheating on the Ninetales for how they flagged you to not get attacked by the Ninetales when you were playing on the Ninetales side, that they cheated. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure the cheat for that demo was you're friendly to the NPCs you're murdering.
I disagree. I think that they may have had the lag issues, like the AI was just delayed because
there are players on the server. It's like this is it. This is all that's happening there. You don't have.
But it was a lot of NPCs, and it's all a lot of
compared to a whole PU instance.
Yeah, but
it's running at 60 FPS. There's no way it's lag.
I don't know. No. I've seen this happen before on brand new servers where AIs will derp sometimes. So,
and if they're running on a local server rather than a server shard, it's a very different experience.
The second AI was not near him. He was still down near the other NPC that was distracted by the can.
There were other times now.
There's a chance.
I disagree. I think what it was that we were seeing an element that was a lot more refined from 2018 or from 2019. I think they just took that and they continue to do it because, again, if you look through the progress reports, the monthly reports, and then you also look at the progress tracker and everything else like that, they've shown their work on stealth gameplay and how it works. Could it use some tweaking at times? Probably. But like I don't think that was entirely faked. Because that's what you're saying. You're saying it's entirely faked, which is kind of fucked.
To clarify. I'm not saying that like the demonstration wasn't a demonstration of like an actual mission you're going to be able to play and do. I'm saying that I think that is how they prevented it from going sideways on them during the demo. Not that you couldn't play through it with them set hostile, but I think that they did that to get a smooth playthrough on the demo. Mm-hmm. Because in Star Citizen, like the stuff that we've seen, it's not easy to do. Like you said, they actually do have this working pretty well, and it's not easy. And there were some slip-ups that they got away with. It was a maybe it's a conspiracy theory, maybe not. I'm not saying that the demo wasn't legitimate. I'm just saying I think that explains maybe a
mean,
couple of little weird things we noticed.
There's a pretty
It's also
good
not
argument.
worth faking it because it was pre-recorded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
The
how
door
many
opened
takes
when
are
he
they
picked up
willing
the
to
note,
do?
though. The
Yeah,
door
they
opened
had
when he
they
picked
had
up the
months.
note, and there was a dead body on the bed.
Well, rewatch, choose, decide on your own. But I do
Yeah.
want to say, as I said, I'm not saying that the demo wasn't a demo. I have talked about it already this stream. I 100% feel like that was legitimate gameplay that we're going to actually go through and play that mission.
Yes, that is a
and that
mission
they actually have the,
in 4.0.
Yeah.
yeah, this looks fantastic. It was just a little kind of like I think I kind of noticed a little something.
But I would disagree that it's sandworm. The concept of that it's,
No
oh,
way,
it's
not at all.
sandworm, meaning
Not
like
at
it's
all.
all just all spectacle and no substance.
No,
that was
not even remotely close.
That was gameplay. That was
Yeah.
the multiple entrances, multiple ways of approaching things. Not only is that something that we're going to see in 3.15 with the missions, which if I could get them to work, that we kind of already have with some of the new bunker missions where you have to go in and clear out a bunker with sometimes with security help, sometimes without security help, and either spawn closets, so you may be defense wave, or you may be able to stealth in and kill some people and that kind of stuff. That's we're already starting to see some of those elements in 3.15. So I don't think it's sandworm, Mike.
No, not even remotely close. No, I'm just saying I think there was a little bit of like a game genie kind of thing. Like this is the mission, but we're gonna maybe cheat a little.
Yeah, I mean, I can see them crafting it in a way that would work for them, but I think
I wouldn't even say crafting it. I think that it was actually crafted as a playable mission and ready to go, and they just cheated a little for the demo.
They just toggled some things so that it wouldn't be as glitchy.
Right.
Shift.
Yeah.
I think it said Shift. Was it? Person in chat said that the change of clothes they don't notice you looked faked. Have you played Hitman?
That's exactly Hitman. That was actually a lot of jokes I'd heard. Was like Hitman Citizen, you know.
In Hitman, you go into a room, right? Bald guy goes into a room, right, wearing a suit.
Yeah.
Bathroom, right? Knocks somebody out, steals a workers, like a technician, still bald, still tattoo on his back of his head.
Yeah.
Walks out. Nobody bats a knock. Nobody bats a knock.
It's a big game logic. It's a big game
logic. Yeah. It's I am disguised now. You cannot understand me.
Yeah.
It's like a clipboard and high-vis at a concert.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next question. With Likes710 asks, with filling up cargo, do you think we will get quote-unquote paid NPCs to help if we don't have enough players?
Sarah said yes.
Depends on where you are, though.
Yeah.
You're not gonna go to drug lab and there's gonna be like 50
lumpers.
What did the people?
Lumpers.
There's not gonna.
Lumpers.
Yeah, sure.
That's what they're called.
Union
I don't know what they're
members?
called.
Lumpers are like the guys at the when you're a truck trailer driver. They're the guys you hire to unload or unload the trailer, so you don't have to.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Okay.
If you go to a drug lab, there's not going to be those. You go to Art Corp, there's going to be tons of those.
Yeah.
There's actually a story all about how there are tons of those and there weren't any available when this guy rolled in. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing as well. I wouldn't expect it first iteration. I wouldn't expect it 3.17, 3.18, whenever the cargo refactor goes into place. I would expect it down the road, but I would
this
maybe
will
even
be more of a server meshing thing.
Maybe even at the end of the year, next year, possibly we'll see some NPCs doing that. Possibly, I think it's more likely going to end up in 2023. But I think here's my prediction for that. It will be in the last patch of the year in 2022, and it's going to be buggy and not work properly. And you're going to see NPCs doing the cargo dance with their all cargo behind their backs, breaking their arms, walking around, and then running on top of your ship.
Then you get charged for murder.
Charged for murder.
But here's the thing. What's your guess as to when it'll get fixed?
When's beta?
Heat death of the universe. I think it'll probably be fixed in like the patch or two after that kind of thing.
Yeah,
That's
3 to 6 months.
Yeah, 3
It'll be
it's
patched
gonna
the
be-
same patch they fixed the bartenders.
Yeah.
Well, bartenders have a very specific problem. That's all server bound. So, with all of our AI guesses that are going on, it will take on the progress that we see will be a entirely different conversation after server meshing.
Yeah.
And that's the question as well. When is server mission coming?
It's
out?
a lot
Like,
of things, yeah. But
AI
is so bound.
For those of you who don't know, Naz believes that server meshing is coming out in 6 months. I think it's coming out in 12. Max
12
minimum.
is exactly what I've been saying is about 12.
3, 6, 9
And
months, 9
it's going to come
months.
out in 12 months, like you were saying about the NPCs. It's going to come out in 12 months and be broken.
Broken.
Absolutely,
Absolutely
you're gonna
horrible.
cross a server wall, and your ship's gonna disappear.
It's gonna Event Horizon you. Where we're going, we don't need eyes. You know.
Well, I love your optimism here, Paul. We all know it's releasing 23rd of December, 2022.
Yeah.
When they all go home.
Yeah.
Well, how long did it take us to more or less stop falling out of local physics grids? Ships
About a year.
Just flying around to space.
About a year.
No,
I think.
Wait.
no. This like 3.14 is the first patch I think that we didn't have it happen a single time. And a year ago it was happening. Like, definitely don't use the back elevator in a Carrack ever.
Oh,
you're talking about a turret during quantum drive ever. Like all these things.
But that's not local physics issue. That's a ship local physics issue. That's ship by ship basis. You know?
Yeah. It's like you're in the local physics of the ship, and then you seem to like kind of fall out into the actual physics grid of like the PU. That's the way I saw it. It's getting detached from that local
server
physics
desync thing?
It could have been, but
why is it fixed? Because nothing else server desync is fixed. It's worse.
But yeah, no, but
If it's a server problem,
but again, I get what you're saying, Trip. I get what you're saying, Trip. It's basically like, we don't know how long it's going to take to fix that, just because it takes a long time even now for some things to be fixed. But all right, let's move on to the next question, because it's but do I think you're enough? The overall question: do you think there'd be enough pays NPCs? Yes, I think it depends on where you are though, and they've already talked about that. Also, get an Argo cargo, not a meme. Legitimately, that is what's going to be.
If you own a hull C or greater, you want an Argo cargo. You need one.
Just leave them parked at every port you're going to.
Well, here's the thing. Does anyone here live near like any ports? Has ever lived near any ports and seen ships coming and going? The amount of ships that will just wait in a harbor for a berth so they can come in and unload. There are ships that legitimately stay out in harbors for weeks, if not months, waiting for
on California.
Yeah.
And China.
It's happening in Houston. I live in Austin, but like down south, it happens in Houston all the time. You see these freighters of oil tankers that are waiting to be filled up or bringing stuff over, and that's what's going to happen at ports. You're going to have players and NPCs waiting to get unloaded, and if you have a whole sea and you have an Argo cargo, you could probably skip the line a little bit, because you can start unloading things in and then moving those over to the cargo. So like that's where those things are going to start to shine.
There will be two lines: the ones who need help and the ones who don't.
Yeah, exactly.
But the Argo cargo, with all the stuff that's been going on lately, I've been telling people. So many people come through the channel, and I've been explaining to them it wasn't just a troll.
I know so many people think they did it on a troll. No, we did it because it's one of the greatest ships in the game.
Yeah,
and one of the greatest manufacturers.
Yes,
and one of the greatest manufacturers, and we want more. We want more Argo ships too. It's like let's push some Argo love.
Let's get some Argo love.
In lore, they invented the Hyperloop, basically.
Yeah.
Like the train you see at Microtech, that's Argo.
All right. Moving on to the next question. Ferric Veer asks, what were your guys' thoughts on the next options for the vehicle vote? This is what you were talking about when I was off getting water. All right, let's start with you, Ferris, on this one. What are your thoughts on the vehicles?
So I voted ground vehicle because I would like them to focus on the ground vehicles. I want them to add more reasons to use them. But at the same time, that Misk Explorer sounds amazing.
Naz, your thoughts?
A quick one being, I hate when people use other things to make CIG do other things. Like, I'm gonna vote this way on this thing to make them do that thing. Like, there was a lot of people like, no, I'm gonna vote Crusader in the BIS to make them have a tab in Spectrum for the Crusader owners instead of having them in the other ships in the shipyard.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that they don't care. It's not going. One does not equal the other. Getting another vehicle is not going to get us another revamp of all the vehicle stuff. This is a vote for. Anyway, it's ranting. Anyway,
let me also illustrate something. All of those ships are being made.
yeah,
This is not a vote on
like,
which ship is going to be made. All of those ships are being made.
And,
Just to let you
the one
know.
that wins the vote will not even be made first. It'll be the easiest one or the one that fits in the schedule first.
Yeah.
Anyway, I went the Misk Carrack Destroyer, because for some reason I really like the Misk aesthetic. It is my second favorite aesthetic. The only way I would have, like, if they said this is an RSI Carrack killer, I would have had to buy a new ship today or whenever that came out, because that is the perfect ship for me, is a Carrack from RSI. And that's why I want my Polaris to be. But Misk, a close second. I constantly am stopping myself from flying the Starfare around everywhere because I need
Why
to
would
actually
you
make
stop
money in the
that?
game. Because I need to make money in the game. Like, I love the Misk aesthetic, and it's just been getting better and better with every single ship. And they said it's an Explorer. It's about the size of the Carrack. Oh yeah, it's Misk. I'm like, yes, as many times yes.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited. And as far as like the ground vehicles, it's another useless ground vehicle. Gravlev. Like, the ground vehicles they have shown are bigger ones, which means they're cumbersome, which means you need more gameplay to actually need a vehicle. The hover ones look like quick bikes, which means you can use them to get around outposts and milling about. I actually put land vehicles on my ships to actually get from my ship to the trade console. And the bomber, I do not care for combat ships. So, that's my thing.
Okay. Trip.
Okay, so to answer the actual question first, yeah, I 100% agree on the Misk Carrack Destroyer. I love the Carrack, but I kind of am not very happy with its exterior appearance in particular, and I love the Misk aesthetic. Exploration didn't interest me originally, and then we got entire explorable planets and moons, and all of a sudden exploration became like the thing I think I'm most interested in the game versus the original, like, out in space looking for anomalies, trying to find, asteroid belts and wrecks and jump points and stuff. Like the planetary exploration is more what I'm interested in. So 100% that for all the same reasons Nazar said. But because it's Farasalt's fault, I have to say the solution to the ground vehicle problem has nothing to do with ground vehicles. The solution to the ground vehicle problem has to do with atmospheric flight of ships. When there is a infinite supply of super OP VTOL capable flying craft, there will never be a purpose for ground vehicles. Well, or very limited. Point defense probably is the only thing you'll ever have. And the invisible walls from 2016 CitizenCon is a no-go. You need to change the way that ships work in atmospheric flight, and I'll leave it at that. I have a lot more to say on the matter, but I'll leave it at that.
Someone's going to ask that question now.
Are going to help.
A little bit, but you need. I think what Trip is getting onto is that you need to make ships act in atmosphere like they should act in atmosphere, so they can't just be infinite strafe machines.
People complain about flying turrets. Yeah. The whole. I gotta be careful here.
Yeah.
The whole like theaters of war problem. Like the ships are flying turrets. The ground vehicles.
Bring back hover mode.
The simplest way of saying it, Trip, is if I could summarize it in a way that isn't going to send Trip into a rant mode, is that the ships need to have flaws and downsides in atmosphere that will highlight the effectiveness and usefulness of ground vehicles. Because when you have
you drag this out.
Okay, go for it.
Ships with wings. Here, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna really focus on trying to keep this super short. Right.
Okay.
Ships with wings fly like airplanes and can fly for a very long duration, but they can't hover for any kind of duration. So they can do strafing runs.
Mm-hmm.
They can do bombing runs over, but they can't hover there and shoot down on ground vehicles. Yeah. So you can't slowly go hovering around and exploring like you could with a ground rover, because you're going to overheat your thrusters, you're going to burn out your thrusters, you're going to burn incredible amounts of fuel. So ships with wings like long duration flight, but only if you maintain enough forward speed to be flying like an airplane. Ships that are counting entirely on VTOL or the ships with wings when they're in VTOL mode, very limited duration, massive fuel consumption. And all of a sudden you now have a need for things that can more slowly traverse the terrain,
That's what you're saying.
where it's worth not being able to escape in 6 degrees of freedom, or go right up over that ridge that blocks you for miles if you're in a rover that you could just fly over with any VTOL ship.
Yeah. And I know I'm already hear the complaints. I'm already hearing the like, but realistically, it's like this doesn't matter about realistically. This matters about gameplay. Like you just need to break reality sometimes to make games fun. And like,
there's nothing realistic about Star Citizen.
No.
Unpopular opinion. Star Citizen, I like to say this, and I think there are certain little key phrases that I have that I think change people's perspective a lot, and this is one of them. Star Citizen is not at all a simulation of a realistic future. Star Citizen is a simulation of our favorite sci-fi TV shows and movies.
Yep. That's the best way to put it.
What's realistic doesn't matter, and what's realistic, this is another thing that I hate, is when something looks stupid, like the fact that you have ships hovering around landing pads going, like doing the Thriller thing, like jerking all around, like doing their landing, and people are like linking videos of like demonstrations of real technology that can do that. I'm like, no, if it's right, it looks like when you watch the fucking Mandalorian and Mando comes in and lands his ship. That's when it's right.
Without going to third person.
Don't give me like a YouTube video of some kind of obscure, demonstration of technology that can do this. That doesn't matter. This is we're trying to get that immersive theatrical or thematic environment to live in, so we can live in our favorite movies and TV shows.
What do you mean this is not old Star Trek? Yes, it is.
It is old Star Trek. It's old Star Trek and new Star Trek and Star Wars and Firefly and Star Wars and Mandalorian,
which is another topic of mine, by the way. Is like it took me a minute to accept the fact, like I hated the hover landing gear on the Nomad and the bizarre god light in the Hercules. And I sort of came to accept it a little bit more when I'm like, okay, it's sort of like the locations, and a lot of people complain about them being derivative. It's like, no, they're not derivative, they're homages. And the same thing with the ships is, they're not trying to come up with just their own flavor of ships and like, this is Star Citizen and this is the Star Citizen verse and this is what Star Citizen looks like. They're trying to have a ship that's an homage to this franchise, a ship that's an homage to that franchise, and they're just kind of merging them all together to kind of please everybody. And when I think about it that way, I don't mind so much the fact that there's some really bizarre differences like hover landing gear and god lights and the engine rooms of shit.
It's really easy to prove that too, because The Freelancer was a different game.
Yeah. Anyways,
definitely not Star Wars 400i.
And Paul's saying, okay, press trip off the list for any of these shows. If we have any kind of like timeline that we need to meet, out.
No, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take Trip and we're gonna put them together with HC Vertigo and Darge, and then we're going to spend about 14 hours talking about Star Citizen one day.
14. And then what are we gonna do after that?
So I'll go over my thoughts on the vehicles. As I said before, none of these ships, all these ships are going to be made. You saw the ships. Congratulations. Let's listen. Let me reach into my mind. Like you can call me Star Citizen Leaks, because I can tell you that we're going to get a ground vehicle that looks like an APC, maybe a like a version of the ballista that's from Anvil. Then we're gonna get a MISC exploration ship. We're gonna get this is a joke I like to say. We're gonna get a new Xi'an hover mode that's going to be changed halfway to Consolidated Outland, and no one's going to bat an eye because they're gonna say it's Cybertruck for hover car or hover.
Since you brought up the Star Citizen leaks thing, was there or was there not a supposed Star Citizen leak on a Argo cargo ship? Not like the Argo MPUV with the cargo module, but basically a mole-like ship.
The raft. It's called the raft.
There you go, the raft. There you go. Right. So
not a refiner, but an actual cargo ship.
We found out right. So like we found out that the 400i was real, which I totally called that was going to happen.
But who doubted that it was going to exist? I don't understand.
There was a lot of people saying.
There were some people. What's because they didn't.
They were saying, a lot of people said that Star Citizen leaks got wind of like the 404
Joke.
like troll joke. And I was like, that was definitely
I don't.
the other way around. Like
Okay.
it was that the joke was based off of the
People
Star
who
Citizen
think-
leak.
People who think that SC leaks like pull crap out of nowhere need to go back in the leaks Discord and go look at the literal spreadsheet of all of the components listed under 400i. Like, because of what it listed, they were able to block out a interior.
Not to
Mhm.
mention like just the total number of times they've been right.
Yeah.
Over
Yeah,
over time.
When they
My-
get wrong like they got the patch wrong today. They said today that it was leaked that, or that yesterday
But
got
Raft.
a leak that it was
Yeah.
going to, 315 was going to go to Wave 1 PTU today when it dropped at CitizenCon.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
Tuscan and I cried when all three ships were talked about and none of them was the Raft. Just so you guys
yeah.
know.
Well, my joke about that is that in some cases it's like there's a lot of what leaks does, which is what I do and what every content creator does, which is look at what's available and go, where is this going, and then pull it out. Like because like people are like, oh, we judged the mole, we called the mole before anybody else. It's like, yeah, because they have literally, or the mole, the rock. It's like the rock is literally on the Star Citizen panel, and when the second I realized that the rock was on that Star Citizen panel, I'm like, we're gonna get a Xi'an cargo ship, and everyone's like, no, well, yeah, well, it's going to be big. I'm like, no, it's going to be the medium Xi'an cargo ship we saw at CitizenCon. And it turned out to be exactly that. It's like, I'm not a psychic. CIG just telegraphs everything they're doing. So I will say that all of those ships are going to be in Star Citizen. You're going to get something
And also, they do
as one of those concepts. Go ahead.
bit of something for AI.
What's up?
So
Oh, yeah, they also
they
need
do need-
something.
Oh
for
yeah,
AI.
So AI is like their ship thing.
Yeah.
The Raft
So-
maybe Raft AI.
Possibly.
I
We
know
have,
there's
like,
a couple
3
other
new
unannounced
ships.
Things.
Yeah. 3 new
And
unannounced ships that I haven't played.
Polaris CIG.
But yeah, no. So expect those ground vehicles, the hover vehicle, the ground vehicle, and the bomber to make it. They've already. Here's the thing: the leaks people had already been talking about the Argo bomber, or was it? No, it was a Crusader bomber. The Achilles. No, was it the Achilles?
Yeah.
I think it was the Achilles. They kept seeing things in this files about Achilles. So the answer is, they already started making the small bomber. It's going to be released before you realize it. It'll probably be released next year, like early next year.
Probably.
So yeah, that whole like, oh, which concepts you would like to? Some of those have already been made. They're already in production.
Yeah, Achilles Star
They-
Bomber. Yeah.
Yeah, this is just going to be the. This is literally just them teasing what they're going to be releasing, because as we've seen in the past, everyone wanted the refinery in 2019, and it's still not out. So
I should have voted for the stupid hover vehicle because then it would be delayed the most.
I joke that all 3 of the I think that the exploration ship will make it, but the ground vehicle, the hover vehicle, and the bomber will come out. And over the next 9 months, and then maybe a year from now, we'll see the exploration ship.
The biggest thing about the exploration ship is there's no exploration to do until we get
And-
data. There's
Yeah.
nothing to do.
And other exploration ships. Like it's not even like it's a new hole to fill. We got the Carrack, we got the Corsair in the works, we got the Aquila, and we got.
I
the
imagine
Dur.
that the MISC will be a less specialized exploration platform.
I hope not. I really want it to be a Carrack killer purely. Like I want it to be a pure expedition
No,
ship.
you can kill
pure.
the Carrack without being a jump point scanner. How many jump points do you think there are to find still?
No. The Endeavor is the jump point scanner. Giant space telescope.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, that's a giant space
No,
telescope.
the
Carrack was
Carrack-
built to find jump points.
The Carrack, I thought the Carrack was built. The whole Carrack jump point thing. I think the way I remember it was for navigating new like uncharted jump points. It was for
Send the
like for
Pisces in.
flying through them. Where the Endeavor was for like looking around,
For
trying
them.
to figure out where there would be one. And by the
they're kind of both. I would say they're kind of both. Like the thing is that the Carrack was designed, at least in lore, as a long-term exploration. Like the idea was that you could fill that thing up with supplies and send it out to the outer rim of 100 or 200 AU system, and they could explore the absolute limits of that system that no other ship could do without extensive support
And how
and
does that
infrastructure.
The Endeavor could take a farm with it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How does
but
that differ from the Endeavor?
Because the Endeavor is not a military vehicle. The Endeavor is a civilian vehicle.
Okay.
And so
So we're going to go out to where no other ship can go. Clearly, we need a military ship to get out there, so we'll be safe where no other ship can go.
It depends, because you could also rock up and find a jump point that happens to also be a jump point right to Vanduul space. So, like, you can end up
flavors,
or you could end up in places where other people are, but no one knows about, that kind of thing. And that's the whole idea behind it, at least. And the Carrack is smaller than the Endeavor. The Endeavor, she's thick. The Endeavor, thick. She is huge. Yes.
Also, it's worth remembering that the UEE is not exactly a libertarian society. All of the information is as controlled as they can get it when it comes to like new places and the rights to it. Just look at what they did to Crusader.
Yeah.
Stanton, sorry.
All right, let's move on to the next question, because that was all about vehicles. But my point, I'll just say I voted for the ground vehicle, but I expected the exploration vehicle to win, and it's already winning like 60% of the vote. So, like all I'm saying is those who were voting for the exploration vehicle, you'll see it in 2023.
Yeah. CIGs don't put out votes to get
or
stuff
whenever
done.
the UK have openings.
They put out votes to make backers feel like they're having input.
Where you vote it should be on the front page of RSI. If you go to
just go to Comlink, it will be there.
Yeah, you go to the Comlinks.
I don't think it's on the headline.
All right.
What are you going to vote for, Sir Knight?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to know.
Yeah.
All right. So next question comes from Elwalk, who asks, how do you feel about CR not really doing a talk? I was disappointed. But word is most don't want that.
What?
So Chris Roberts wasn't very visible in this CitizenCon, which is the first time.
Who doesn't want him to talk?
So I've heard the tinfoil hat conspiracies that the board has been restricting Chris Roberts and Sandy's ability to talk publicly. And
there's a board?
There's a board. But I don't think I don't know if that's the case. It might be the case. The answer I would give is Chris Roberts is moving to a new country. He's moving his entire family to a new country because he's moving back to Manchester to oversee Squadron 42 personally. And anyone who's tried to move in the last year,
that's gonna cause some issues.
It's going to take some time, especially when you have two kids, like two elementary school kids in the middle of COVID.
Yeah, isn't Aaron over Squadron?
Yeah, but Chris is going to help.
So Chris is going to be over Aaron.
Why did you not hear this? This is news like months ago.
I know. No, I just finishing the pieces, putting together. Like I understand he was moving over there, but I'm just like, wait a minute, that's his brother overlooking it. Oh no. I have a brother. If who's the younger?
Chris is the younger, I think. I think Aaron's the older.
Crap, this is gonna suck.
But
Aaron's younger. I'm quite sure that.
Is Aaron's younger? Okay.
Almost certain. Yeah.
Okay.
Then he'll be used to it. Okay, it's fine.
But it also has a lot to do with the fact that the UK is building a new studio. So because they went from being one of the smallest studios to being the biggest studio, and they're like building a studio from scratch now instead of just buying like office space, so they actually have space to work in. But I don't know. I generally thinking I'm fine with Chris Roberts not talking. Like Chris Roberts is a fantastic presenter, and if this was live on a stage, yeah, I definitely want Chris there. But this is pre-recorded. You don't need Chris. Like, not shitting on Chris. It's just I also want other people who make the game to be involved in talking, especially since this is kind of like a GDC for CIG. It's they're showing stuff off that they've been working on for a long time.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see him more next year.
Yeah, I like the fact that this year, it's making the developers into superstars.
Yeah.
which is I'm pretty sure that's like been a shift that's been happening over the past couple, well, this year ish.
Longer
With
than
all
that.
the, it's become much more prominent in the ISCs to like get these not so on camera developers to really like, this is the guy who does this, and so it puts their name on their work, and that is something that is missing in the games industry. And CIG is like, wait a minute, we can fix this. We have the perfect opportunity. We have people who listen and want to hear what each developer, their name, their face, and what they're doing. So
Okay, chat is confirmed. Chris is 2 years older than Aaron. Okay, so
cool.
yeah. Yeah. What were you saying? Something, Trip?
No, I was just agreeing with you. I was saying the same thing about Chris Roberts. I love Chris Roberts, and you're right. Like him being up there on stage at a live CitizenCon is a fantastic thing. But as far as like giving time for this presentation, I would have given Tony Z more time to run amok rather than, I felt like he was kind of like reined in for most of this, like he was on a script sort of. I would definitely give Tony Z hours to run amok rather than give Chris Roberts like more time for a presentation of that sort.
Yeah. I think
anyone...
Squadron 42. I would say if we had anything to do with Squadron 42, Chris or Aaron would be the ones who want to talk, just because it's their baby. But we didn't. So hopefully, maybe we'll see it at the end of the year, because they tend to like to drop something, at least one little bit of Squadron once a year. They've done that every year since 2016. They've always had one like hour-long segment or something like that, either a trailer or some small segment. Last year it was the briefing room. The year before that it was the
and then they ended it.
It was the sizzle reel, and then the year before that it was the trailer, and the year before that it was the vertical slice. The year before that it was the Moro tour. So like every year they've given us at least one little bit of Squadron. So I still think they'll probably do that at the end of the year, but we'll see.
Maybe an anniversary thing. Fingers crossed.
All right, let's move on. I've paused the question redemptions for right now because we still have 20 questions.
Shocked, I say.
And I looked at the dates. We still have an hour, so we still have our 40 or 50 minutes.
I thought we were supposed to be done at 8.
We're supposed to be done at 9.
My time.
East Coast time. Yeah. So it's 6 a.m. to 9. So.
Okay. Nice. Okay. I thought we were like overtime. I was about to get kicked out.
No. I wouldn't. We would have kind of done this stuff. Next question comes from.
I haven't seen the sun yet today.
Next question comes from Tarn, who asks, "Is anyone else really excited that we got to see a Hadesian artifact? Tomb raiding in the future for rare, valuable artifacts. Anyone, especially now that we can sell boxes of stuff." I'm actually happy that we saw it, because it means that they're trying to work on Hadesian style. And for those of you who don't know the lore, Hades is like
one of the coolest places.
It's like a graveyard.
It's worse than a graveyard. It's a haunted graveyard.
Yeah. Why are you muted, Fripp? I know you're talking
was it the Whisperer was the original lore story for Hades from Jump Point?
Yes, I think so. Yeah, the Whisperer.
It might have been. Read it, guys.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Go check Jump Point. Read that little short story, and you will understand our excitement for Hades getting work.
They said they said blue eyes, and like, they're blue.
Well, yeah, the Blue Man. The Blue Man is a famous cryptid that exists in Star Citizen. So
I just the thing that popped into my head the second they said Hadesian artifact was they're finally working on artifacts that they've been talking about since the beginning of the game.
Mm-hmm.
They've been saying like, you will take artifacts, and people like, you'll sell artifacts, you'll smuggle artifacts, you'll have these rare artifacts and objects of significant stuff and things, and like, finally we have an artifact, and it looks amazing. It's Hadesian, like.
Whoa! Wait a minute. How about the fact that they said you put the 3 pieces together?
And it's a generator or something. They said it has something to do with electricity or power.
Yeah.
Like,
but you think it's just going to make power and that's it?
No.
It's Hades.
No. It's Hades.
Okay, okay.
They
Hold on
blew
now.
up one of their
Hades-
planets, okay? They nuked one of, not even nuked, they just cracked one of their planets with their technology. We don't even know. We're not going to get into this lore nonsense because Farasol's just going to laugh at us.
That could
like,
have been just
no
their
nerds.
home generator. You don't know.
It
Probably
could also
not.
be a weapon of mass destruction. That's all I'm going to say.
It could be.
Or it could be a black hole generator.
It could also
Hades.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be anything from a kitchen sink to a bomb that crashed planets. Yeah,
Yes.
that's the pig in the sink.
Anyways, yes, I'm excited because it means they're getting style language down for the Hadesians, which means they're working on it, which means we might see more of them in the future, and it means that they're starting to think about Hades as a planet, as a system, which is awesome. So,
Anybody know how far it is in terms of jumps? From where we are.
Not too far. I want to say it's within 2 or 3 jumps of the systems that are becoming in place. So, I'm sure Farasol's looking it up right now, but I saw the screen flicker immediately, and I was like, I know Farasol. Let me look.
I know it's close.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's yeah.
Let me pull this up real quickly. But yeah, I'm really cool because it means we're gonna also have other knickknacks. We'll be able to sell Banu, terrible name for an application, by the way. CIG needs to work on their names. Because like your average person will have no idea what knickknacks means. Like, what is knickknacks? Like where do I find my app? Where's my map? There's nothing that says map here.
Wait. Stanton, Magnus, Ellis, Nexus, Hades.
Stanton.
Stanton, Magnus,
Ellis,
Nexus,
Hades. Nexus Hades. Yeah. So it's 5 jumps away.
1, 2, 3, 4.
4.
Via the
You make 4 jumps.
Via the best system in the game.
Magnus. Oh, I'm sorry,
Ellis.
Ellis. Right. Your favorite system. Magnus is my favorite system because it's Space Detroit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna be sipping champagne on Terra. So have fun, guys. I will have the best seats for the Sata Ball.
It's gonna be a little toasty warm sipping champagne on Terra, isn't it? Don't you mean Terra Prime?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Ha 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 ha. Yes, I suppose.
But yeah, no. That's the thing.
Pike.
If y'all,
It's called Terra.
It's called Terra. It's Terra Prime.
Terra Prime is the landing zone.
Well, no, it's called Well,
Terra Prime. No, Terra Prime is the planet, isn't it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
Terra
I think
I'm
it's
on the map now.
It's like I think they specifically said in the lore that it was confusing.
Yeah, intentionally
If I
confusing.
remember right. Yeah.
The important thing about this is we're going to have something to sell that's not just boxes of labeled garbage. It's going to be go down to this planet and get this thing. What is this? This MacGuffin. Get a MacGuffin for I don't know, Rudo. Rudo wants the MacGuffin. So go get the MacGuffin. And I love that because now it's like, hey, I can go kill this guy for this MacGuffin, or I can steal the MacGuffin, or I can buy the MacGuffin and then just go somewhere else with the MacGuffin and see if I can sell that thing. So that's great. That means we're getting more gameplay, and that's something happening sooner than later because it's actually on the roadmap for like 3.17, 3.18. So it's happening next year, which is okay in my book. What do y'all think?
I think that it's finally like that thing that they've been saying over and over about like either player choice or like unscripting the missions. Like ever since the original what's his face double crossed you, the moon landing was on Levski.
Yeah, that guy.
What's his leather jacket guy? What's his name?
Wait, is that Miles Eckhart? Did he
Miles
do it, or
Eckhart.
is it-
This is the Miles Eckhart demo. They've been saying how they want to unhinge unscript the stuff and make it so it could go anywhere. I'm frozen again.
Yeah,
And so,
I got you.
And this is
Something-
finally like an unscripted thing. You were given a task and you can do it however you want, and stuff may happen.
Something else that they touched on, by the way, was like the more lasting consequences to going criminal when they're talking about the reps. Because that's definitely a thing when they like let you just murder the guy and take the artifact. It's like so many people are going to do that unless there's like serious consequences. This can't
yeah.
be something that you just like turn around and shrug off afterward. Like this has to be a lasting effect.
I think it's gonna be both. People are gonna do it anyway, and then they'll figure out, oh, there's actually I'm going to be hunted down in a third of pyro.
I fucked up. I fucked up. That moment, it's going to happen because people are used to no consequences, and when consequences happen, it's like, it's what's that meme? Like, I'm a genius. Oh no! All of those
Just wait
it
till,
looks like fucking around is closing the gap on finding out.
Just wait till someone's like, aha, no, I have an idea. Watch, I'll take out everyone in the base, and then no one will know. Scout comes over, somebody's killed our entire camp. Who murders an entire camp of civilians?
Exactly.
And then you'll be really screwed. Then the other two gangs will be like, you don't kill civilians.
Yeah.
10 minutes later, you open up your Moby Glass, you look at your rep app, and you're like, oh.
Wait, why is the Crusaders all the way down? Hurston's, all of Pyro's all the way down. Everything's red.
Why?
No one likes me.
I guess I'm not going to Ruin Station ever again. All right, let's just burn my bridges there. And I think that's coming sooner than later. And the Tony Z talked about that extensively, like that they want reputation to be the more important thing than money because it's how you're going to be able to survive. Yeah. I want them to get rid of crime stat. Fuck crime stat. Make it all reputation based.
Did you not hear them? Like they just said that's blunt object. It's terrible. They're like, no, it shouldn't be informed. Like, no way should have a crime stat ever. It should be you're hated enough by Crusader security that they either want to lock you up or they want to kill you.
Yeah,
they just want you gone in some way.
I have a really hard time not getting like spun off onto different things, as you might have noticed. But the crime stat thing, what is with them like spawning Crusader security on you no matter where you are when you have like CS4, CS5 to where you get like swarmed. You're in like a Hercules and you just get swarmed by like 500 mantises when you're in the middle of absolutely nowhere where they couldn't possibly find you.
Yeah,
it's the probability volume's working.
No,
it's
not. Yeah. All right, bullshit. Let's move on. Elwalk asks, how great were the ship presentations? Little long, but cool. Favorite of the 3 ships? I'm going to save my ranting because everyone here knows if you've been watching Captain's Tables, we'll continue. Trip. Favorite of the 3 ships?
Oh, man. Okay, so this is one of those times where I can't pick a favorite because there's 2 completely different directions to go here. The Bandit Merchantman is not a ship that I want. When I saw it open up and I showed the Defender in it, I was like, almost want. And it looks incredible. A little disappointed that it lost a bit of that like kind of Geiger vibe that the Defender has. Like they toned it down a lot. But it looks gorgeous. It looks awesome. I think that the people who've been waiting for 7 years or something for it are probably going to all be thrilled with it. Looked awesome. But what I have found in Star Citizen so far is the ships I mentioned, like Mole or Argo, and the Caterpillar is one of my other favorites. I really am a lot more satisfied with like the industrial kind of looking ships. To me, they just speak to me more. They look more realistic to me, with all the greeble and stuff instead of these like big plastic smooth surfaces. And that the Liberator, is it? Yeah, the Liberator. It's in obviously like an extremely early concept kind of a stage, but it's this chunky, ugly thing to finally go and carry like fighters longer distances. So because of like the whole pain of flying light fighters even around in tiny little Stanton, that's the only reason I've wanted an 890 jump at any point, is just to be able to like haul a fighter around. And then I was like, okay, well, the 890 jump's not exactly practical as far as fuel consumption and travel time, so it defeats the purpose. Now to have a ship that's actually designed for that and everything, so I'm kind of withholding judgment until we see it actually built and a proper full final 3D model or near final 3D model and everything. But it's potentially pretty damn exciting. I'm hopeful.
Das, favorite of the 3 ships?
Favorite, be Liberator. I think we saw the 400i coming too long. It kind of lost its sizzle. It would have. And I'm a meme hater of the Banu Merchantman because everyone loves it, and it's not a cargo ship.
It's a trade ship.
It was pretty. I hate the Banu look and feel. All their stuff looks creepy, and it gives me the creeps.
I don't want one,
Good.
but they're cool.
Yeah.
I want them in the game. I like that they're there.
Yeah,
I don't want too many players
as the
selling them.
opposite of everything I want to do, they can stay over there.
Naz is just going to stay away from all of the Banu vendors. When Banu says Banu has wares if you have coin, he's going to be like, nope, get away from me.
No coin.
No, go away.
After I got like a good look at the Liberator, I said that's the single player ship. That is the single player ship.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have a tug that can hold a medium ship and vehicles, and I can tug around the universe, and then I can set down on wherever, fly my little ship off to the nearest port, come back, land on a planet, and it's the place where no one
Come back and it's despawned you, man.
Yeah.
It's the actual nomad.
Yeah.
You have plenty of cargo. You have a garage to do repairs. You have one medium ship or 2 smaller ships or whatever that you want to shove on there. Like it is the single player ship.
I mean,
I don't know about the single player thing, but like other than that, I agree 100%.
Pharaoh, your favorite of the 3?
So I have to caveat, I bought a 400i.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a really neat ship. I think it fills a really nice role. It's going to be a really fun ship for running with a couple of buds without being purely combat focused. I like that. That said, I think the concept behind the Liberator is filling a really important gap. Though there are some changes I'd love to make. I'd love to see a bunk room in it.
Yes. Swap out that 16, like it's got like a lockdown room.
Escape pod, yeah.
No, it's got a 16 person like the
jump
the like basically the jump seats
and stuff
from the Valkyrie. It has one of those rooms in it. Just swap that out for beds.
Did they not call it a escape pod?
No,
I'll swap that out for beds.
But yeah, give it a bunk room.
I mean, they have 2 beds.
Think
it needs to keep that. It's the landing craft, right? It's the USMC hovercraft for doing like the landing. You need the crews for all those vehicles to be ready to climb into those vehicles and get deployed.
Yeah, but it's also, I'll go over mine a little bit, but when I talk about it. But yeah, go ahead, Farisol.
So I think that's really cool, but I think also a lot of people have suddenly latched onto this pocket carrier idea.
It's not sudden.
I don't expect this thing to be able to perform repairs on ships beyond hand tools.
Mm-hmm.
It is there to get.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. It's not a crucible. It's not a lot of things people are hoping it will be. Yes, it could be used as a small carrier, but that's not really its role.
No.
It's not there to service the vehicles. It's there to get the vehicles to an engagement, which is cool. It'll do that job really well. I also love the fact that it basically looks like a hovercraft.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Very deceptive.
So let me spin you a yarn. About, was it 6-7 months ago, I came upon the realization that CIG has a gap in its ships. And that gap in its ships is specifically focused around server meshing. Because when server meshing comes online and they start increasing the player cap, with the size of the ship of the systems that we have, they're going to need some way of transporting ships and people long distances faster than with the annoying having to stop and refuel, especially in places like Pyro that don't have a lot of infrastructure. And you're not going to stop your whole C or even your freelancer to go gas up at an outlaw station because you're probably going to get attacked, or there's just too much risk for it. So not just that, but just the entire scope of Star Citizen, you're going to need something like that. So I've been talking about a ferry ship, like a drive-on ferry, similar to anyone who's lived in areas. I know they're popular in Asian coastal Asian countries. I think it probably even in Pacific Islands and in like Australia, New Zealand, where like if you have to go long distances, it's often best to just go on a boat. And I know in the Pacific Northwest they have a lot of them, and in the Northeast they have a lot of them, and in some places in Europe. So a lot of people may not like know what I'm saying, but like there are places where you can drive a car onto a boat, get out of your boat, and then like usually on top of it, there's usually some seats where you can sit down and wait, or they go across a bay or go across like a small bit of ocean or whatever. That's what I was thinking. It's like CIG needs, or Star Citizen needs something like that, where you can park your Aurora, get out, grab yourself a sandwich, and wait. So it'll take that boat half the time it'll take your Aurora to go, and you'd be able to save on fuel just for paying a little bit of a fee, either as an NPC or players. And then from that, a bunch of Marines jumped onto the comments and be like, "You're just talking about a helicopter landing dock or helicopter locked landing dock, I think is what it is, or something like that. I can't remember the full name.
An LCAC?
Not an LCAC. Essentially, it's a helicopter aircraft carrier, which is which U.S. Marines, but also other marine services use them familiar. They're basically like floating bases. They have a top deck, which is just for helicopters, and a bottom deck that can carry vehicles, and then has full platoon of Marines or whatever, or company of Marines, whatever, like a lot of Marines who can live and eat and sleep there. And then they can be deployed.
Landing helicopter assault. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you. LHD. Yeah, and LHA. Ro-Ro ferry. Thank you. Roll-on, roll-off ferry. Yeah. So I realized that basically those are the two same things, and you could merge those together. And of course, I narrowed it down and said there's two companies that would make this, Anvil or Crusader. And so I've been talking about this on Captain's Table for a long time, that this is something they need to do when server meshing is out. This is something they don't have to worry about right now. And so when they talked about this secret Anvil ship that they're working on, for capital ship, I was like, oh, it's going to be like a gunship, because it's Anvil. I didn't think they were going to make the actual goddamn ship I was talking about for 6 months. Like, this is exactly what I talked about, except for, as Fairasalt said, beds. You need beds, because there is no ship in the game that has more beds than its crew. And you need something that players can go log out on that ship and then come back later when that ship has reached its destination. And especially if it's a group like this, it's designed for larger organizations. It's designed for to be manned only by a minimal skeleton crew, but to carry groups of people into battle. And I know a lot of people, I've heard people saying it's boring, it's a box. It's like, yes, it's a boring box that does a lot more things than you realize and carries 400 units of cargo. It's a huge, boring
People were
box.
killed for this when the Ballista came out.
Yeah. It's designed as a ship for a role that is yet to be needed in the game. So the Liberator is my favorite, but just because I feel like I'm being watched by CIG. I feel like they're watching these shows, and I'm like, why? Don't take my ideas seriously. Like, please, God, I'm insane. I'm a madman in the internet. This is not a good idea.
I have the memory of a goldfish. Did all four of us agree on that?
Yes. the Liberator. And I'm trying to counter, because I know there's a lot of people who say it's very expensive for an ugly box. And it's like, then buy it in game. But I also think that people are, because it doesn't have a big ass railgun or a ton of like fighter support. It's like, oh, it's $500 for that. That money is a lot more worth it than the Perseus. Perseus was overpriced compared to this.
Has very little value.
This is going up in price when it releases. This is going to be $700.
The Liberator is not something you buy because it looks cool or it works cool or it like something about it makes you want the ship. No, you buy it because you need it. You will buy this ship you will buy this ship in game when you need it, because you spent all your money on the Hornet and the Saber and whatever other 85Xs you have, and you need to move to Pyro now, or you want to move to Terra, or you want to move Magnus, LS, wherever you're going.
Yeah.
You're probably going to want not just a fighter with you. You're going to want something that can make the long haul with a fighter, or you're going to want a couple ships to come with you as well.
So there's another question in here about that. What do you think about the Liberator being $575? I think it's underpriced. I think it'll go up in price as people start realizing what its value is, and because CIG is also a concept, so it's going to grow. If John Crew gets its hands on it, he's gonna feed it carbs and tell it it's pretty, and then it's gonna get through.
Menu carbs, they're bigger.
Yes.
So since we all agree on the ship, and there's some chat going on here, there seems to be some disagreement on how combat capable the ship will be, or rather how tough it will be. I really see them sticking close to the USMC hovercraft landing craft that inspired it, which is the hit the beachhead thing. So I see it as the Valkyrie's big brother. I see the Valkyrie goes in and deploys the infantry and the small vehicles. This thing goes in right alongside the Valkyrie and drops off the Nova tanks and fighters for flying air support.
Yeah.
So I see it as 100% like ramming right into the battle. Flying right in there for that hot drop.
Don't stay.
Which I love.
Get out.
It's exciting. Very exciting. I love it. Yeah.
It's the Higgins boat. It's the LCAC. It's the hovercraft. Yeah. It's and it only has 2 guns. Yes, those are beefy guns on it, but it only has 2 turrets. It's not designed as a combat ship. It's designed as like pucker your butts. We're going in.
Said 3 ships is too little, but the thing is, look at the way these are used in real life.
Ships.
It's 5 ships. That includes the ground vehicles now. That includes like probably ground vehicles. But the thing is, these go in. You don't send in one of these, and you don't send in one Valkyrie under like the kind of circumstances where these are used in real life, right? It's like you have a whole bunch of them all hit at once.
Yeah, so there will be some what are they? M2s. There'll be some Valkyries. There'll be some Liberators.
We've seen the concept art.
A entire company.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think I mentioned this last week on my show. I don't care what the prices are on their website. They could go to $1 million for an Aurora. As long as the base package is $45, it doesn't matter. They could charge whatever they want. You're not buying a ship. You're donating to the cause, and they give you a ship that they've arbitrarily put at that price point.
No. Now you're pre-ordering a donation.
Pre-ordering a donation. Yeah. Like everything has a completely different price in game. Not the price they give it in game, the price that it becomes in game. And that's what you want a great class on what I'm talking about. Look at the graphics card industry right now. You can't buy a graphics card because they're all several $1,000s because the price on the street is higher than you can actually get it, or than you would be able to get it otherwise. The price for ships will be very similarly asked in game.
Now,
so if no one wants it, it'll be dirt.
Someone also said I'd wait for the QA for buying it. That's the other thing. It's like I think it's underpriced, but I also think that it's don't buy it if you're concerned about it. Unless if you are the kind of person who's like, this is exactly what I want to do. I want to be the ferryman of Star Citizen. I want to take this. I could see this being a trade ship. It could be like an org trade ship or a mining support ship, or because it's flexible. It's got that ability with that internal cargo bay that it can do a lot of different things. So if you could envision what you see and you can envision that as gameplay that you want to do, I'm not going to judge you on buying it. But if you're like on the fence or like, I don't know about this ship, or even I think this ship is shit, like wait for the Q&A.
I had actually an interesting idea for this one when it was sort of being announced. A great example would be a premier transport organization. You'd have someone with a Genesis Starliner to protect the people along, and then you have a couple of buds with these Liberators to bring the luggage, so to speak.
Yeah.
Where you get there and you can grab your 85X that you wanted to fly around in the system you're going to.
And a lot of people are asking like, oh, well, does this make the M2 obsolete? And the answer is no. No. The M2 still has its purpose. Yeah. It's got a ton of firepower below it. The M2 drops in with the Valkyrie. Like the Valkyrie drops first, the M2 drops very closely afterwards because it can take more hits and drop and run out.
Yeah, the Liberator's a fringe drop, not an on drop.
Yeah, it drops in after the beachhead's been secured, is what it does.
Have you looked at the bottom of the A2 though? It's terrifying.
That's what I mean. Like the A2 goes in after the Valkyrie, or at the same time as Valkyrie. It's just boom, 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 boom. Like it's death. Like you just destroy everything below you with that ship.
Yes, it's the practical fix for hovering turrets.
Yeah. You know, it's designed to just lay waste beforehand, and then it drops off its cargo, and then it moves on. So, and so I think that a lot of people who are hand wringing about like the Hercules becoming obsolete, it's like it still have its place. It's just not the only vehicle carrier. Also, the Liberator is going to be massive compared to the Hercules. It's only going to get bigger.
You should look at it on was it Starfleet or whatever? Not Starfleet.
Ship 42.
Yeah, Ship 42. What's the thing called?
Holoviewer?
No, it's not Holoviewer. Ship
Fleet Viewer?
42. Oh, it's Compare, not Fleet View. It's just Compare on Ship 42. It is so deceptively big.
Yeah.
Or deceptively small. Like it when I put a Hercules next to it, it was just I did not expect what I saw.
How big it is compared to the Hercules?
It is huge.
Yeah, people think it's the small box, and it's like it's small because it's not the Kraken. It's not the Aegis or the Kraken, but it's bigger than the Carrack, I think. Maybe bigger than maybe the same size as 890. I think similar.
Carrack.
It's a strange thing. Somebody said that it was listed as capital class someplace, but they were talking about it having size 3
engines
jump drive, like that was big. So it seemed like there was a little bit of a conflict there. I wasn't sure what to make of that.
So the Carrack is 125.5 and the Liberator is 119.
Okay, so it's about the same size as a Carrack. So it's bulky.
Like it looks like they upscaled a Hoth speeder, and to the scale of a Carrack. So it doesn't look spindly at all. Like it's the opposite of spindle.
Yeah. Let's get to a couple. I'm going to knock out some of these real quickly because I'm looking through this and I'm looking at the time. We've got about 20 minutes left and we've got a lot of questions to get through. Oh yeah, there's a question, is there any reason to get an M2 over Liberator? And we already talked about that a little bit, which was like, yeah. Do you want to just say that ground? I dislike that. It displeases me. Eliminate it. Then you get an M2. If you also
there's also something I think it might be worth considering the fact that the cargo in the M2 is enclosed. It's kind of like the Idris versus Kraken thing. Is like the ships that are on that. I mean, it's going to be a lot more exposed. So even though I see it as like kind of charging into the beachhead and depositing those vehicles, it's less secure transport. I would say. So I think
the Kraken got like a little afternoon of work done on it because there's a Holoviewer in Cousin Crows, and the textures. Well, the door on the wing looks like a door that they'd actually put on the ship instead of just a panel, like to say like this is a door.
I think it's going to make an appearance in Squadron 42.
Oh, I think so.
That makes sense.
At some point, that's probably
the beginning of Squadron 42 instead of the Vandal is like the pirate.
I can see that.
Right? So I think that might be why we're seeing some hints or some little clues that maybe it's being worked on more than we thought.
Yeah, we saw Freelancer, Cutlass Black, one other ship, 890 maybe, not 890, M50, all dressed up in Colt colors.
Yeah.
And they just got done with a sprint for enemy ships, which is dressing normal ships up like the enemy ship.
Okay, so I'm looking through some of these questions and because we're knocking some that we already talked about.
Yep.
All right, so we'll talk about the 400i and the BMM, and then we'll move on.
Okay.
Wraith asks, what is your guys' opinion on the 400i?
It's the most compact, useful origin ship.
Fair Salt, you already kind of talked about it, but
yeah. So I picked one up. I think it's nice because it's not combat focused. Unlike its compatriots, it only has 2 size 3s, pilot controlled, and the rear and the turrets are both focused on the rear, so it's more for getting away from trouble rather than driving into it. I like that.
Your thought, Trip?
Okay, so I CCU'd my Cutlass Blue into one because I hated my Cutlass Blue. But
fair.
Well,
Fair.
in terms of cosmetics, I really like a lot of elements of it, but the interior has something I've complained about with the Origin ship to an extent. It looks like a hospital inside. It doesn't look like a luxury ship inside to me. It's just all so sterile and plain. Really, it's like all these plain surfaces. So that disappoints me a little bit. But the biggest thing about it is, like, what exactly is its slot? Like, what is it doing? Because it's can't carry an Ursa. It looks like a Cyclone's as big a vehicle as you're going to get into it for the vehicle. It can't even carry a Dragonfly in the bike position. The Dragonfly doesn't fit; it's too wide.
It's only the X1.
So
it's bespoke X1.
the Nox. Well,
Yeah. No, the Nox
the
is
Nox.
X1.
The Nox
Oh,
is
is that
not
somebody?
fit. I've tried.
No?
It doesn't fit.
Okay.
The only thing
Okay.
that'll fit in is the X1 because it's like exactly X1 sized.
It squeezes
Yeah.
it right in there. Okay.
Yeah.
But
Maybe
so
Maybe.
then like it's not a whole lot of cargo really. It doesn't have a whole lot of firepower. And exploration wise, I have the same problem I have. I love the freelancers. I love Misk, but the freelancer Dur to me, the freelancer Dur is dead to me because it can't carry a rover.
I'll give that.
And this is the next thing. Like they've got the cartography table there and all that. So like, and there's supposed to be a lot of exploration focus on it, but exploration focus to me without the decent exploration ground vehicle rules it out.
Yeah.
So what do you use it for? What do you use it for?
Well, that's the thing. I think that's what this is. This is a competitor to the Dur. It's not a competitor to the Connie or the Corsair. The Corsair is going to absolutely shit on the 400i. It absolutely shits on the Connie. Like the Corsair is guns and cargo and everything you want from a Connie. Only it's probably going to you breathe on it, it's going to fall into 15 different pieces. That's kind of what it's going to be like versus the 400, which is like the step between I have a freelancer and a Connie. You know, I have a freelancer Dur and a Connie Aquila. That's what this is. This feels more like in that middle road. So I don't think it's as effective as an Aquila.
And this is an investment tip for you guys. What you just said, the Corsair, at least right now, is significantly less expensive than the Connie Aquila.
Yes. Oh yeah.
It's like the Corsair is in that slot that you're talking about between the Dur and the Aquila officially, at least right now.
Oh yeah. But
And like you said, yeah.
Yep. But also
Go check it out.
as chat's saying, the Corsair also has no escape pods. So like right now that doesn't matter when Death of a Spaceman comes in.
Though. I mean, we know it's Drake.
It's Drake.
It's got big guns.
It's designed to explore the inside of somebody else's cargo bay. That's what it's designed to explore.
Do you guys remember the first contact story for Star Citizen? The first contact story where like there's the two versions of the story. There's like the public version about Nice First Contact. And the truth was that it was like an explorer who was out there scanning for jump points. Thought somebody else was getting to jump on him and opened fire on him, and it turned out to be First Contact. It was Banu, right?
Yep.
So that was a Corsair. That guy was in a Corsair.
Effectively, yeah. Vernon Tar, yeah.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
Yeah.
Name.
Yeah. So I don't think it's a bad ship, but I do think that people need to recognize that it's not a Connie. Don't get this. Don't melt your Connie for this if you want to explore. It is the best built Origin ship so far.
The thing that I like most about it is that it is one of the few ships in Star Citizen that the interior layout more or less makes sense and doesn't seem hugely wasteful.
Yep. Yeah.
But I do hate the recent turn toward like engine rooms, like engineering spaces that are, again, just like a smooth empty room. I mean, you got the doors for the components, but what happened to like the epic appearance of like the Carrack engine room? Is a fantastic example. Like, and the Mercury Star Runner is the one that suffers the worst there. It's like, this is a ship that has a focus on like power and speed. Where's the engine room? Like,
yeah, it's I know where it is. It's in that side component where all of those components are. So if someone wants to,
they should have taken the Carrack engines and like put one on each side with like a door going in there, and you got this closed, compact space around like this giant engine. You know what I mean? It's like kind of like I think it's.
That is an entirely different topic about the MSR, because that is quite literally a pet peeve of mine as someone who owns an MSR and likes the MSR, like about how much it could have been better. It could have been so much better. That's the problem.
I ended up not liking the Crusader aesthetic. By the way, I'm frozen.
Yeah,
and,
I'd compare the 400i with like a current Toda home. The sort of bring your car with you, with a couple of buds and drive
Yeah.
across the country.
Oh yeah, it's the as I always say with origin ships, they're hookers and blow ships, but they're like hookers. Like the 400i is like the everyman hookers and blow ship, whereas like the 100 and the 300 is your budget version. This is like your I'm a mid-level executive at a big company, and I want something that I can take my family or my longtime acquaintances out to go to Green for a weekend, to go party it up and watch some space races.
How does that translate into gameplay? And this is from somebody who has the Spectrum ID roleplay. So like I'm all about the immersion. Like that was my Spectrum ID. But like, what's the actual gameplay for this?
The gameplay
for
is
what you described.
For what that is. The gameplay for that is transportation. So it's a simple,
Like
it's a
Origin
small, so
Pure transportation.
but it's also exploration because it also has the ability of going long distances. It also, if for instance, if you had this ship for, it's similar like the 315. Like the 315 is a sleeper ship for Origin because it has a lot of stuff for its price. It has a lot of value. And I think the same thing will happen with the 400i. I do think that it falls. It's overpriced for where it is in its actual pricing, but I feel like in game it's going to end up falling between the DUR and the Conning in terms of its in-game pricing, because that's really where it stands.
And the presentation, they described it as like better than the Connie in every possible way. And I just looked at it and I was like,
it has less cargo. It can't be better.
It's a budget Connie. It's a budget Connie.
Yeah.
But it's
a budget Connie, but luxury.
It's sexy. So sexy looking budget Connie.
It's a sexy looking budget Connie. Yeah.
It's a mission runner.
Yeah.
I think it's a Porsche Panamera. That's what it is.
You know what it
Porsche.
is? It's a low key smuggling ship.
Yep.
You could smuggle with that. It has just enough cargo, not a ton of cargo. And you have that front bay. You could toss some illegal stuff into that front bay instead of a bike.
Ask me someday about my smuggling ship ideas, about like how I think they should implement it. Ask me someday. Not now.
It's
we'll do.
Built to go to a faraway galaxy to uncover some Hadesian relics.
With your buds, with a couple of brews, yeah.
Murdering innocent civilians while you're at it.
Yeah. It's a horror. It's a horror ship. It's the beginning of a horror movie.
Terra Prime on Terra in Terra.
Okay, so it is Terra. All right, let's move on because we're down to 10 minutes. 10 minutes. I'm gonna have to go through some of this. Rejecting that. I'm gonna.
Now, hold on. Before you were talking about going like 20 minutes over because we started 20 minutes late. Just pointing this out.
Okay. Yeah. We might start a little bit.
Redacted. Yeah.
We'll have to go through some of this.
He's retconning it.
Retconning. I'm going through some of this because some of these questions are like, we'll go on a long spiel, but we kind of already talked about it. Like, for instance, one of them is about, like, as a fellow redeemer disliker, one of my friends has decided to buy one, so I disowned him. On another note, would you say Polaris is worth getting it at this point? And it's this long thing about, like, the Polaris. I don't really want to get too much into the Polaris because there really wasn't a lot of information released about the Polaris. So, Naz, as a Polaris owner, do you think it's worth its current price?
The Polaris?
Yeah.
I can't decide how you value stuff. Buy it in game.
Yeah, that's
buy it in game. Unless you want to give the money, don't buy it in game.
Nothing like the one thing I like. I'm part of the Info Runners, and I love Info Runners content. But one of the things that I think that we often overestimate is the value of ships. Ships are worthless. They're digital. Yep. You're not going to sell that in game for extra money. You're not going to sell it on the black market unless you're selling it as like a black market kind of thing or the gray market sort of area. Mm-hmm. It's really not a lot of like, oh well, this ship has got more value. Like I've got one of the original $250 Man and Merchantmans. It's $600 now. I don't care. I'm not going to sell it. I want the Merchantman.
Unless you're playing Star eBay, they don't have value.
Yeah,
they're given as a gift for helping the project. They are stretch goals for you personally.
Yeah, and they will never have the value that you put money onto them.
Yeah. Like that's
so
why a lot of us like use every AIE to melt all of our ships and just get all the buyback tokens we want.
Yeah, try doing that when you have an Armada fleet pack that all your ships are CCU'd on, and you can only crush chassis upgrade, and you can never melt it because you lose like $1,400 worth of value if you melt your Armada pack.
you can melt
No.
individually.
I've got myself
you-
painted into a corner with my fleet because
You
the
could
thing is
s-
that the ships have gone up so much in value.
Uh-huh.
Like between all of the CCUs that I have that were like a $200 CCU that's now a $400 CCU, it adds up to like $1,400 less.
Maybe go play some of that Star eBay.
I can't. No,
They're all
the
same
nothing. And nothing I have can be gifted. I mean, everything's been
Oh,
melted and
no.
CCU'd so many
because it's in
times.
the package. Yeah.
Yeah.
At that point,
Uh,
I'd be contacting the concierge ticket service, like, "Hey, so I need a couple of favors."
Concierge support is not there to help you sell things in the grey market.
No.
They will not help you get back. They won't give you back like old CCUs that were like $0 CCUs that are now
No.
like $300 CCUs. They're not.
No, they won't.
No,
But
and that's the
I
problem.
don't. I have no idea how to get you out of your hole. I am not exactly skilled
I mean,
at.
I'm all right.
Yeah.
I just realized today that when after the wipe, I'm not going to have like a single ship that I can carry my buddies around in. It's either like giant ship or fighter. Is all I
Yeah.
have. It's like
Ooh. See, currently, I have a very like evenly diverse fleet. Oddly enough, because I have an Argo, a MSR, a 600i, and a Carrack. So I have a very nice spread, except for like obviously light fighter kind of area. And that's all going to be melted away because my fleet consists of a Carrack, which is a Polaris waiting to happen, and a Hull D and an Aurora. That should be my fleet. Except because I bought the MSR, I will have some money left over to play with after AIE ends.
All right, I'm going to move on because we still have 9 questions.
Only 9. Okay.
Only 9, but we're getting down to it. First one's from Ionic Gecko, who asks, for Paul, you were outed and screamed, yes, ha ha ha. What? Yes, ha ha ha. What caused this lull? My wife tweeted that because she decided she was going to wander around like it was a haunted, like a horror movie about a haunted house, and just kind of curled up in one of our guest bedrooms just because she has the entire week off. And then she was woken by me screaming that. And the answer to that is likely it was when the Liberator was shown. Because I blew my fucking mind because my first thought was that's what I thought. That's my ferry ship. And then the more they talked about it, it's like, that's my ferry ship. What the actual fuck, CIG? I didn't. Oh God. Panic mode. All right.
By the way, Eric.
Okay, so there's a couple of different questions about the BMM. There's one on the X1, and then
So just give the questions to the people who like whichever ship it is least. It'll be real quick.
well, the X1. I'll tackle this X1 really quickly, and you guys can pop in if you want to. The question from Target Drone is, what do you think about the X1, and do you think we'll see it at IAE? I think it's a weird ship, and I don't know why it exists, other than to fill out the roster of Origin.
Yeah.
And I think the hover
like
ships
hover
are in a
bikes.
weird place. But hover bikes are in a really weird place right now.
Yeah.
But if you like hover bikes, and I mean, you got Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
So like people are gonna
Yeah.
like them, and if you like hover bikes, then it is a pain in the ass a lot of times to be in a ship that doesn't have the ability to keep you warm. So cyclones for somebody who spends a lot of time in ground vehicles, I love the Cyclone, but I use the Ursa all the time because I don't want to have to deal with wearing the cold weather armor, the Novikov and all that kind
no,
of thing.
we're not gonna see it AIE because all
So an
the
enclosed
shots
hover
they
bike is
had-
kind of like
Is it enclosed?
Yeah, but like it's not like totally.
Yeah.
No, it's not close. All the shots
They
they
have
had
some?
of it
No,
in
it
the
isn't fully
commercial
enclosed. That's right. It's like
were
almost
really far
enclosed.
off shots.
Yeah.
So that tells me it's not done.
I think
Definitely.
they're going to work on it because they're obviously thinking about working on the hover vehicles because they have a hover vehicle that they're going to make next year. I'm psychic. That's how I know they're going to make a hover vehicle next year and sell it. Probably straight to flyable. That's just my psychic abilities. You should follow the AstroCub
Actually,
for
there's
all
a
my
thing for
secret leaks.
Yes, I totally thought it was enclosed. So it not being enclosed is kind of like a total deal breaker there.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
it's
it's a Nox but made by humans. It's kind of what it is. So yeah, but it's definitely not going to be available in IE.
Ground scramble races are coming back, or the sprint finishes up for ground scramble races in December.
Yeah. So I think. Yeah. Go ahead, Fair.
The X1 feels like a homologation bike for racing. Really.
Yeah.
It's a human and Nox. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's a homunculus bike.
Just like Origin loves, like, that's Origin's brand.
Mhm.
It's this, but us.
What do you guys think about the Ranger, though? I mean, not to totally change the subject, but real fast.
Wow, love it.
So looking forward to
Right?
it.
Everybody is in love with that thing.
We
We
need
want
like
it so
the-
bad.
It's so pointless, except for just being Akira and riding around the desolate countryside of Hurston. That's what he's in for.
Yeah,
so.
we need an assault rifle.
Like sleeve,
not
yeah,
a sleeve, like just a latch on the side of the bike, so you just like attach it to the bike and hop on.
yeah.
It'll be there.
So you jump off the bike, grab your gun, and walk.
It'll be there. It'll be there. At least on the militarized one, it'll be there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. That one I think will, when the ground vehicle comes out next year, because again, psychic. When that ground vehicle comes out next year, probably around Invictus, psychic. We'll probably see an update on the on the Ranger.
Psychic? You mean you're looking into your crystal Hadesian artifact?
Yeah, exactly. Locke Austria asks, did they cover anything new this year, CitizenCon? It felt like everything talked about was already covered in their weekly shows over the past months. Yeah, they talked about a lot of stuff. Go ahead, Naz.
All the stuff from Ruin Station was all new.
Yes. They mentioned they were working on it, but they never really.
Yeah, obviously we knew Ruin Station was a thing. It's on the map.
Yeah.
But everything they talked about, all the art, all the stuff, like, was all new. The building menu of the station or the planetary outpost was new. I keep wanting to say colossal. The sound thing was new. There are pretty graphics for trying to explain server meshing to laymen was also new.
We also new ships technically.
Yeah, 2 new ships.
We got
so yes, there was quite a lot of new. It just wasn't presented in the way that you expected it.
Yeah. I would say that we also got a lot of information about DX12. Like they went over in detail. There's a lot of detailed information that isn't sexy. That is very dry that we hadn't had before. But as I think we like Trip and I don't know if his Trip's very very still or is he frozen? He looks very wistful. Still. Okay,
he's very disconnected.
Oh, he's gone.
Oh no. Maybe he comes back.
Finally, a smile from Trip.
Hopefully he comes back soon. No, Trip.
Oh no.
We're out of time anyway.
Good.
Yeah.
We're almost out of time. Let me. We're definitely out of time, but let me finish this up. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's new. I think it was just, as we talked about at the very beginning, which was just like the placement was wrong. Like the design of the placements was wrong, and I think it has to do with limited time and not multiple stages. If they had multiple stages, then they could have put more content in there, and they could have had stage 2 for the technical stuff and stage 1 for the sexy stuff and that sort of thing.
Was it at the beginning of the year, or was that the beginning of last year? They thought they were going to hold CitizenCon
last year, beginning of this year.
So I'm behind again. Yeah. 2020 didn't exist, guys. Yeah,
it's a black hole.
They decided. I feel like they decided to do a CitizenCon too late. I feel like it was a maybe. We'll see how it goes, and then it's 6 months out. We need to do something.
Yeah.
And then they said, "You guys make videos, right? The ISC team, go make us a CitizenCon."
Yeah, it was definitely Disco Lando. The Disco Lando show, which is fine. The ISC team did a great job of making an 8-hour ISC. They could have just worked it a little bit better in terms of placement.
They could have an 8-hour ISC as the year half show.
Please no. I know how much effort Jared has to put into those.
Yeah, if they did one of these big long things a year for maybe not for CitizenCon but for
year half.
you know, for half the year or for another event or something like that, it would be fine. Like, it doesn't have to be 8 hours, but like, you know, a long show kind of detailing this sort of thing. If you didn't have a CitizenCon, or if you actually, I'd almost prefer this over CitizenCon, the normal CitizenCons, if they reworked some of the placements and that kind of stuff, just because it feels like more what I was expecting, more of what I'm expecting next year. I think a lot of people's gnashing of teeth and wailing comes from the fact that it wasn't what last year or what previous years were. But all right, let's move on.
Many people are like hooked on the person thing.
Yeah.
Oh, he's back or not?
Yay! Yes, he's back.
He just needs to reconnect to chat.
Yes.
Okay. Like, I see him, but I don't see him. Okay, what else? What's got?
I'll wait for Trip to try to hop back in.
There he is.
Welcome back, Commander.
There we
You
go.
have a voice.
Can you hear us?
Where's Welcome Back, Commander from?
Elite Dangerous.
I know it. Huh?
Elite Dangerous. What? Elite Dangerous. Elite Dangerous is Welcome Back, Commander. Because
It's also from XCOM.
oh, is this from XCOM? Oh yeah.
It's from
Oh
both,
yeah.
Was it ever in Command and Conquer?
Maybe.
potentially.
Yeah. Trip, can you hear us?
I remember seeing it in a game I played.
I think Trip is having audio issues.
Am I?
No,
Oh,
we can hear
well-
you now. We can hear you. Good.
Oh yeah. I was just
Okay.
being quiet because you guys were
Okay.
talking. I mean,
No,
it's not something I do often, but I do once in a while.
All right, so
It was
move
out of
on.
character. We were worried.
Yeah.
We're moving on.
I'm trying
We've
so
got
hard.
a couple of things. First off, Minty Frizz asks, "What's the top thing you were surprised they didn't talk about?" Squadron 42.
Mhm.
I think
I
it's the
wasn't
biggest one.
surprised. I called it. I said I really, really hope they talk about it, but I bet they won't.
Was there anything
I
that
don't know why. I
they
just had a vibe.
was there anything that surprised you that they didn't talk about that you were expecting them to?
No, not really. No, I don't think so. I think they pretty much talked about all the things I thought they would. Well, another thing that I didn't expect them to talk about, I really wish. I mentioned that during the beginning of the Tony Zerevec thing, they talked about a lot of the serious issues, which made me happy, but there was no mention whatsoever of desync. And as we all know, desync's kind of like the worst it has ever been.
I think they mentioned desync, actually. I remember them talking about
Did
desync. Yeah, they talked about desync, and they said, but they basically said, we know it's an issue, we really want to work on it, and then they moved on. And they didn't talk about how they were going to tackle it at all. So, you know, which
Just
yeah.
server meshing first.
Yeah, that's a different conversation. I would also say fire. I mean, people are saying Theaters of War, but fire was something I was expecting. Fire propagation, because
That's coming up in the next quarter because fire propagation, damage on ships, and life support's all done on the roadmap.
yeah. Also, where damage is on ships. Like these are things that are like I expect within at least a first iteration within the next year or so, or at least CIG seems to expect it, but they didn't talk about it, which is either a good sign or a bad sign. Maybe they're talking about it at IAE. Maybe they're like waiting to drop it, you know, sooner, so they want to kind of reveal it a little bit more, or it's like, yeah, it's actually not really that close. But I don't know.
Forget about fire. I just want to see pine trees that can't take a carrick down by touching the very, very point.
Yeah, that's another thing I was expecting, because they did talk about like deforestation essentially, or like changing, like knocking down trees and stuff like that. They talked about that.
Did you see, by the way, have you guys realized how much they cut down on the forest density on Microtech?
Mhm.
Like, I have a video from a little over a year ago of like at night in a blizzard, and it's just a solid wall of trees, and I'm very slowly kind of creeping through there. You can't find that anywhere on Microtech now. The trees are all like it's like EverQuest. There's like one over there and like another one way over there someplace. Like they're spread way out.
That maybe has to do with server performance though, because it's-
Deforestation. You said deforestation. I was like, yeah,
Like-
deforestation. It happens between
Also-
patches.
Something like they've mentioned farming a bit, but in the plants and landscape video, seasons.
Yeah.
Like
I want
Like
to see
we-
more rivers.
everyone heard farming for years. I've never heard anyone say, "Oh yes, there'll be a planting season."
Except in your endeavor. So
No, that's
the
the
rivers. You mentioned
yes.
when I saw
Good.
the panel was there for like the planet development, like the planet tech and everything, I was really hoping for an update or to see a little more of the rivers thing.
Mhm.
Remember we
They
saw
see-
the rivers a while back. That
It,
Yeah.
wanted to see more.
it feels like a lot of the stuff we've seen in like the past 6 months of ISC was like not covered
Yeah.
'cause
specifically.
we've covered it.
Yeah.
No, but
yeah.
like the updates we were all planning to see, the river update by the actual artist, the fire update that actually like had it working on an actual ship, not a uh,
Ground or
designers
facility.
designers workup.
Yeah.
Like all these like separate little things that we saw the first iteration of and said we'll keep working on it in ISC, and then we did nothing else. We were all expecting these kind of things to come to a head at CitizenCon.
All right.
And it
All right. So I've got about 10 minutes because now Diablos is like, wake me up when it's my time. It's like, it's time soon. We got 3 more questions. I'll go with this one. Do you think we'll get bombs for external missile pylons? So right now you can't attach a bomb to a missile, but do you think that in the future you'll be able to swap out the missile pylons for just a bomb payload?
Yes, because Tony Z exists.
I don't see why not. I also see that those
Yeah,
pylons will eventually
same.
be swapped out for like few extra fuel tanks. It's something they've talked about in the past too, that they want to be able to have
Yeah.
fuel tanks, stuff like that too. So
Yeah.
I feel like there's going to be some restriction on it. I don't think it's going to be just you could swap out missiles for bombs. Period.
yeah, there may be.
I think they might like you can't have a size 1 bomb.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a size 1 bomb or something like that. Like you need to have.
So,
It has to be a specific type of ship. But
like maybe it'll cut down each size by half, so you can't have a size 1. It has to be a size 2, and it'll be a size 1 bomb to take up 2 slots.
yeah, something like that.
Something to like really nerf. Don't do this, but you can.
Well, here's another question though. How small
ahead.
do we think bombs are going to get? Because I was talking earlier about the whole rock, scissors, paper thing. The fact that the bombs, if you, there's no warning. So
Yeah.
if you're watching, you can shoot them down easily because they're so slow. But if you're not, so like really small bombs could be a problem. Like how do you defend against them? I mean,
Anti-air missiles.
I think we'll just see how it shakes out. Honestly,
Yeah.
will they add bombs to pylons? Yes,
We
probably.
don't- Yeah. We'll see how it develops, because that's the thing is like, yeah, as you said, Trip, we don't know how this gameplay is going to develop, but I don't think CIG knows either. I think they're playing it by ear for now. I am looking forward to the Achilles Star bomber though now, because I have a feeling it's going to be a dive bomber, which is because Chris Roberts loves World War II tech, and that's the one type of thing we don't really have. And just to hear, as long as they add the Stuka effect to the to the end of that thing as it comes down on you, I love it. I also play when I played War Thunder. That was one of those things that I love doing is being absolutely stupid and seeing how long it would take for me to pull up from a dive, dropping a bomb.
Xenothreat, dumbfire torps on the Retaliator.
Exactly. Yeah.
Glorious,
it's so much fun.
Glorious.
It's so fun when you're just like, I'm going to wing this and hopefully it works and that kind of thing. So, all right. Last 2 questions. I'll do this one and then we'll do the last ones. The first one's on what do you think about the redesign of the Banu Merchantman, and how much do you think it will be when completed? I don't know. Or how much money would you think it would be completed?
I think the money doesn't matter.
Yeah. I think it's always going to get more expensive. That's just the rule of thumb. The CIG's even said that ships are just going to get more expensive over time. I like it
A lot.
but I think it's better than it used to be because it seems much more focused for the gameplay it was designed for. Because it's, as Naz will say, it's not a cargo ship. It's a trade ship. It's designed for a mechanic which isn't in the game yet.
And
So-
if it comes out and it does not have those drape awning things that they said were going to come out above the fuel scoop when it opens,
Mhm.
I will actually be upset.
I expect some style. I expect style over
Yeah.
substance for it too.
Like, because that's the one thing I've always had a problem with. Like, it's supposed to be this gaudy, like, this is how much wealth I own kind of thing, and you're walking up a ramp. It may be a pretty ramp. It's like it's engraved, but you're walking up a ramp. There's no show when you land. So the fact that like banners would come and drape down from the top of the ship in landing mode, that finishes the entrance.
Yeah, it's the Banu. I think we'll probably see the Merchantmen come out when they have the Banu in game.
Yeah.
As a race, and like that's not next year. I wouldn't expect the Banu Merchantmen coming out next year. I'm just glad that they finally talked about it after 6 years. I know a lot of people are like, why did they spend 3 hours on this Banu Merchantmen? It's like if they're making up for the 6 years, they said nothing about it.
Yep. And
By far the oldest ship that hasn't gone into game yet.
Yeah,
By far.
at this point. I mean, other than
there
like
might be one.
No, I think it is because I was thinking the Bengal, but the Bengal was showed off at IAE.
Yeah.
Besides, the Bengal's not a player-owned ship. I'm talking about
Yeah.
like player-owned ship,
Orion,
like
I
ships
believe.
ships that people bought.
Mm-hmm.
back,
Orion's
like
new,
Life for.
the Orion's newer. The
Oh, yeah.
Banu Merchantmen
yeah.
came out before the Orion.
Banner Mission
was-
was Wave 2, was it?
20.
The
It was
Zeus.
20. The
Zeus
Zeus
was
wasn't
never
supposed
intended to be a flyable
ship. Yeah. But the Banu Merchantmen came out in, I want to say, spring of 2014, before Arena Commander came out. It was sold
I think it was slightly earlier than that. I think it would have been late 2013
late 2013.
because I started playing in 2014 and the Merchant Myth was already there.
Yeah. So 2013. Yeah, it was over 2012, but it was like one of the first ships I purchased in the game, or like for Star Citizen. I had a 315 package, and I had a Freelancer, and then I had a Banu Merchantman. It's like my third ship that I purchased in game, and I backed the game in August of 2013. So yeah, it's one of the original ships. It's older than almost anything else. So I'm glad it's getting some love. Moving on to the last question. This is a good question that I'm going to do another roundabout, starting with you, Trip. Would you prefer CIG only release new systems if they're fully fleshed out, or accept multiple barren systems just to increase the number of systems we could explore?
Oh no, I think it would be better to see them fully fleshed out.
So better to be completely done
Hands down.
than version 0?
Hands down. Within a reasonable definition of completely done. There's always polish and stuff like that. But more or less feature complete. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nas, what do you think?
If there's no gameplay there, it's just going to be a pretty look, and it's not going to add anything for them to get feedback on. So there's no point in putting it in the game. Like, you're either going to want them to draw for economy, them to draw for piracy, for anti-government, for aliens, or something. They will always pick stuff to put in to push something forward.
Mhm.
So, do I want them to wait till, like, do I want Nyx in before or after the 100% of Nyx is done? No, I think they should now stop giving us bits of them. But I also think they should get a circuit done,
Mhm.
which I imagine is going to be Stanton, Pyro, Nyx, was it Magnus, Terra, Stanton? Get
Mhm.
that circle done, and then go back over it.
Terra though,
Yeah.
Terra is such a huge one. I don't know, man.
No, yeah, but it is the first. It's the first one that will be the pristine government, like, kind of. It's the UEE planet.
The last what he's saying is like archetype is like the last central core archetype.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Until you go back to Earth when you have like everything old.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of easy wins CIG can do. Fair Assault, your thoughts? Would you rather have barren or fully fleshed?
I'd like to see them released at like 75%.
Okay.
Like, I don't want them to be completely fleshed out. I don't want them to not have to spend any more time after it's released. But I'd like to see like your core stations, your core points of interest done, and at least 1 or 2 mission givers for the area.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say MVP, like minimal viable product for players. Meaning, you don't want to have a system that's opened up with no mission givers, with no places to refuel, unless that's like the vibe of the system, that it's empty. Like, I think and I don't think CIG is going to do that. I think CIG has gone the way of, they're no longer going to push a system or a planet out just because they want to get a system or planet out. They've kind of don't need to do that anymore. It's why I think, honestly, we're going to get server meshing at the end of 2022. And if we get it at the end of 2022, we might get Nyx and Pyro at the same time, because it seems like the content team making the systems are faster than the tech team. And they're already working out. We already know the planets of Pyro are fairly well done. But this is Frankfurt we're talking about.
Planets are.
This is Frankfurt. They're
What's
obsessed.
Nyx besides Delamar?
Nothing. It's empty. It's dead planets.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like Pyro.
Like I don't think there's any planets, right? They're just like basically protoplanet,
like,
asteroid. I think Delamar isn't Delamar the biggest thing there?
No, there are planets there.
It's been a long time.
There's like 3 planets there, but they're all like Yella, or
right.
In terms they're like
Moon
Yella
equivalent.
the planet, or they're all protoplanets. So they're small, but they're not. They're bigger than Delamar, but Delamar is the biggest thing in that ring. So that's why they built Levski on it for a mining station, because everything else was just pointless. So, but yeah, it's a very small place. It's going to be super easy for them to punch that out with their current tech. But this is the Planet Tech team. They're obsessed. They're like we need to do more. We need to have realistic volumetric clouds and rain scattering and lava flows that look 100% real. Like they are obsessive in terms of their perfection. And so I don't think we'll ever see a system or planet done. It will always just have another thing that they'll want to add to that tech.
That's the nature of online games. So
there are 3 planets and 3 protoplanets and an asteroid belt.
Yeah.
That's it.
So it's pretty simple. It's an easy check, I think, for CIG to get that done.
One's a new gas giant, so.
And
it'd be interesting. You're talking about the content. Like it'd be interesting to see what do you do with that besides Delamar? What do you put in there?
If you're not pirate and you're not UE.
No. I mean, as far as like things to do when you're like, what would you add to Nyx before you like add it to the game?
Nyx used to have quite a detailed scientific presence as well.
Yeah.
So you'll probably find quite a like current or abandoned stations based on that.
Yeah. And
it's been years.
I think the Pyro Outlaw stations will then get transferred over to Nyx as well, because I think you'll probably have several stations which are abandoned.
Yeah, and there's also the transformation that Pyro underwent when they're like, oh wait, we do need to have players actually care about this system.
Mm-hmm.
Because it used to be Pyro was a desolate, blanketed in lava and too much heat, you can never survive on the surface of a planet. To, oh my god, these things are beautiful and they're luminescent now and they have plants on them now.
Yeah, it was gonna be just Ruin Station, right? Basically, it's like Ruin Station.
Yeah,
and
it was gonna be Ruin Station, and then don't step on the surface of the planet for too long, or you'll burn up. Now it's fully fleshed out planets because they're pretty now. Because
they changed. So I expect Nyx to change a little bit like that too.
Yeah,
I expect. I honestly probably expect some of those protoplanets to be ice planets. Some of those protoplanets to be desolation planets, and maybe something like that, like ice pirates. And I expect the gas giant that's there. I think there's a gas giant there, or is it just 3 protoplanets?
Yeah, it's the farthest one out.
Yeah, the gas. I feel like the gas giant's going to be the big get. That's going to be their like we're going to make this thing really cool. Maybe like abandoned gas mining stations around the planet or something like that.
Nyx 2, high pressure atmosphere and thick clouds of acid and carbon dioxide.
There it is. It's the smog world. We'll get the smog world.
It's the first smog. Yep.
All right.
Oh, there are 2 asteroid belts in there.
That is it for this section. I'm going to try to move on because we're already late for moving on to the next section. We're going to get the new crew here. Thank you to Trip. Thank you to Naz. Thank you to Faracel. And I want to thank Jock Cop and Epic Failure. Jock Cop gave $20 and Epic Failure gave $100. So we're now at $300 out of $500 for our goal. Seeing that bar going up, raising money for Doctors Without Borders, Medicine Sans Frontier. I can't say it right because my Spanish is terrible. It's like my Banu. But I do want to thank these wonderful folks for joining me. And Trip, I need you to get on a show with me to just talk about smuggling, because you and I are like the only smugglers I know.
Oh yeah.
So
no,
like
we
me,
need to
you,
do
and
this.
Fair Salt or something like that, talking about
If you know the smugglers, aren't they bad smugglers?
They are, but I'll take that hit for the clout.
Never claimed to be good.
You tell me when. You tell me when, and I'll be there.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you all for hanging out with us. Like I say every time, hope to see you someday in the black. All right. Thank you all. I'm going to try to get everybody else to hop in.